AFC Championship. Bright sunshine in the 60s. What will we see from New England today as far as their offensive attack? It's been on the ground the last 3 weeks. Will we see the same thing here?
Well, it's about the weather. The weather is not a factor. We've talked all this time about the two quarterbacks. They got perfect weather to throw in here today. And also, the best team is going to win because weather is not a factor.
Had this game been played at New England, right now 35, wins at 20, gusting to 30. But the Broncos were able to hold on to that 1 seed by 1 game ahead of the Patriots. Shane Vereen's back deep, but Prater, especially here at altitude, so good at delivering the ball to the back of the end zone. These two original AFL franchises who played the very first AFL game in history on September the 9th, 1960 in Boston. Now playing for the Lamar Hunt Trophy, named for the founder of the AFL. And there you go. We'll see Brady and the Patriots start from the 20. Tom Brady trying to advance to a Super Bowl for a 6th time, where he would become then the first quarterback to ever start in 6 Super Bowls. In his remarkable 8th AFC Championship game appearance. Nate Solder protects his blind side. He's a Colorado kid. Mankin so tough and a Pro Bowler again. And Blunt coming off that postseason New England record of 166 yards and 4 touchdowns last week. And they come right out now with Vereen also on the field, along with Devlin in the backfield. And Brady's pass caught, but immediately knocked down by Rogers Cromartie. Edelman with a catch for 4. This Denver defense with Sean Phillips, who had 2 sacks last week in the win over San Diego. Trevathan's their leading tackler. And again with Harris out after blowing out a knee last Sunday. Bailey returns as a starter. 12-time Pro Bowler. We'll see what it'll be like for him getting a lot of snaps today. He's played so sparingly this year. Now Blunt is in the backfield on 2nd, and we'll call it 5. And here's Blunt. LeGarrette Blunt. He is tackled right away by Paris Lennon for no gain. And Blunt, not only last week with the record numbers, Phil, but the last 3 weeks, 8 touchdowns he scored, and he rewrote the record book for rushing yards by a Patriot in the postseason against Indianapolis.
Well, they needed him in these last few games because of the bad weather. Today, because you have good weather, Tom Brady says we can unload our arsenal. In other words, don't hold back anything you have in the passing game.
Austin Collie is in as an extra receiver on 3rd and 5, and Denver trying to force a quick 3 and out as Brady's pass is knocked away. Again, it was Rogers Cromartie who defended on Austin Collie.
Top of your screen, best defensive back the Denver Broncos have. That's Dominique Rogers Cromartie. When you watch him practice, you can tell he's smooth, really energetic, and can cover anybody one-on-one in this league.
Low snap, and that might be an issue after last week. And Ryan Allen, who was injured last week, punts it away, and Decker watches it bound all the way back to around the 15. Eric Decker was the returner, and that will go in the books as a 60-yard punt, as now it's Peyton's turn to take the field for the first time in his 4th AFC Championship game. Coming off of what most people consider to be the greatest regular season performance by any quarterback in the history of the league. Chris Clark, what a job he's done at left tackle after Clady went out week 2. And again, Julius Thomas was inactive. He was out with a knee at that game November 24th up at Foxborough. And he had some huge 3rd down catches last week to put the game away. Manning, he's got the time, and he completes the pass, and there he is, Julius Thomas, ridden down right away by Hightower. It's a defense of New England that had 4 picks last week, 30th in the league rush defense. They got shredded by Moreno in the first matchup. Jones is a playmaker on the defensive line. The fast emerging Collins, a linebacker. And we'll watch the Talib matchup today. We expect a lot of Talib on Demaryius Thomas. 2nd and 5. And here is Moreno And Chandler Jones has hold of him after a gain of 3. So it'll be 3rd and 2. And Peyton Manning, after we talked to him on Friday, emphasizing how much faster they want to play in this game today.
It's all about what they learned up in New England weeks ago. Don't fall into the trap. In other words, run the football so much where you take Peyton Manning and this wide receiving group out of the game. Good job. First play, get the throw there, get the wide receivers' confidence up, so when you need to throw the football, you're able to.
3rd and 2. He bobbles the snap, now gets hold of it. Open man, and he's got the first down. Boy, that took a moment to develop because Peyton had a hard time grabbing hold of it, but a gain of 7 to Decker and a first down.
Eric Decker, Peyton Manning took his eyes off the football trying to see what the coverage was, but Eric Decker, what a nice route. Came all the way across the field, stopped, and then reversed and went back out. That's why Dennard could not stay with him.
Dennard limped off the field. He's replaced by rookie Logan Ryan, who led the team in picks this year with 5. And now Monte Ball is the running back, flanking Manning out of the gun on 1st and 10. And Peyton again on a crossing route has his man, and that's Decker all the way to the New England 49. And he ran away from Ryan, who had just come onto the field for Dennard. And Talib finally tripped him up after a gain of 21.
They love these routes coming all the way across the field. Just watch the defense. They're looking at everybody down the field, trying to play the inside routes. The middle linebacker that time got distracted. He wasn't there to hit Eric Decker. That's what you have to be ready for as a linebacker on the New England defense. Short crosses, you must get contact on them.
4 wides, including Caldwell. First down from the New England side of the field, and Manning's got another hookup. This time it's with Welker.
You can already see it, Jim, the speed at which Peyton Manning's going at, and they want to also show this New England defense some new formations that they haven't seen before to make them think, because if you make a defense think, then they react slower, and it just gives you a better chance. So a lot of different formations. Here's another one right now.
Mike Patricia, defensive coordinator, knows that Matt Patricia knows that Denver has specialized on opening drive touchdowns, but this will set them back as Moreno is wrapped up back at the 50 by Hightower. Got in that backfield in a hurry.
Yeah, he sure has. Hightower, Jamie Collins, 2 linebackers at the beginning of the year. You didn't think they'd be this big in the game plans, but he reads it. Look how fast he reacted and flew into the backfield. That comes with being taught the right thing, experience, and of course, something he has, a lot of talent.
Loss of 5 and quickly back to the line. Broncos with a 3rd and 9, wide to the right of Julius Thomas.
Marshall. Ram. Omaha.
And Manning's going down the field and over the head of Decker. And that was Ryan on the coverage.
That's something that, they talked about coming into this game. Be physical with the defensive backs. Look at the initial hit. That time very good. It throws the timing off. It makes the wide receiver Decker go so wide, really nowhere for Peyton Manning to throw the football.
And now Britton Colquitt will do something he did not do all last Sunday. Punt. Not a single time last week against the Chargers. Aaron Brewer to snap it back. Edelman standing back inside the 10. Colquitt, who had only 1 touchback at home all year long, flies this one to the 6, and it got past the coverage team down there, including Omar Bolden. So that's only the 2nd time all year long that he had a punt go into the end zone. Just a net of 28. Brady coming back to the 20 when we return to Denver. That sun could be an issue in the return game, and obviously some pass routes as well. We saw him trying to make adjustments and shielding their eyes during warm-ups. Second series here for the Patriots. Play action, and Brady's going to take what they give him here with a little throw to Matthew Mulligan. Just 3rd catch of the whole season for him. Let's go down to Tracy.
Well, guys, you mentioned it. The last 2 weeks, we've been talking about the weather, wind, rain, snow, cold temperatures. Now we're talking about the sun. John Fox told us yesterday he timed it. He said the sun will be this way until at least mid-third quarter, and it is extremely difficult to see down here, guys.
2nd and 4 from the 26. As they go with Blunt, and his first 2 carries have now netted only 1 yard. That was good for 1.
Yeah, the big guy inside. Terrence Knight is a big key to this football game. Watch 94, 92, Sylvester Williams. They both just get penetration. They're big guys who are athletic. Even if you run outside, they're athletic enough to be able to chase plays and catch them as they go sideways.
Yeah, it was Phillips who finished him off. And it's 3rd and 3. Going for the long ball. Down the field and knocked away. Intended for Matthew Slater. So seldom used on offense. Outstanding special teamer, and they went for him deep.
Tony Carter is on the outside on the deep pass, so he sees Tom Brady in the football the whole time. That was really well done by him. Matthew Slater really had no chance to catch it. Now, we talked about Chris Harris being out, Jim, but the Broncos, they have a lot of defensive backs deep at that position.
Danny Aiken to snap, but the first one was low. This one's perfect. 60-yard punt the first time by Ryan Allen. And again, it's Decker. And fair catch this time. So, 2 possessions for New England, no first downs. Back come the Broncos after a 55-yard punt.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Nationwide Insurance. Nationwide is on your side. And by Bud Light, official beer sponsor of the NFL.
And again, the Broncos will start from inside the 20. 2 excellent punts by Ryan Allen in this game. Finds a time, and again on the crosser. He's got Julius Thomas and a series starter of 6. Bradshaw and Stabler in conference championship games 3 times. Elway and Bernie Kosar 3 times in the 80s. Troy and Steve 3 times in the 90s, and now here we are for the 3rd time between these 2. 4th time overall in the postseason. Setting up screen on 2nd and 4, and Moreno with a blocker in front takes it all the way out to the 42. He was riding right behind Zane Beadles and Vasquez for 18.
When you watch this team play, look at the right side of your screen. The offensive linemen for the Broncos, they run so many screens. They're great. Go down the field. I say this all the time. When you're big, you're blocking small guys. If you can't get there, just fall to the ground. Now they got to jump over you, and nice play call that time by Adam Gase.
And Moreno, who had 224 on the ground in the game at New England. That was the most by any back in the league this season. On first down. Pass is batted away. And that's Jamie Collins, who went from a seldom used rookie, played only 20-some-odd snaps in the first meeting, and now he's a difference maker on this defense.
Yeah, he sure is. This is not pass interference. That is great timing by Jamie Collins. Fast, tall, long arms, does it all. Had a tremendous interception last week down the middle of the field against the Indianapolis Colts and Andrew Luck.
And that time knocking it away from Monte Ball, and it's 2nd and 10. To the ground they go with Ball, and again it's Collins on the play for no gain. Don't miss a moment of today's game with the live stream on CBSSports.com. Catch all the action free online, CBSSports.com/NFL. So now 3rd and long coming up for the Broncos.
Every time we would do a game and involve the New England defense, everybody would say the same thing. We're going to work on their inside linebackers, not athletic enough. That's kind of changed since Jamie Collins has come in the lineup.
We saw Dennard hobbled on that first defensive series. He's back out there for New England. 5 wides for the Broncos on 3rd and 10, and long ball time, and it is caught in the middle of the field by Demaryius Thomas. right over McCourty.
Peyton Manning told us about this. Here he comes down the field. They said the safeties sometimes don't get back to where they should be. One comes up, you expect the other one to go to the middle. It doesn't happen. McCourty's not there in time, and it worked exactly. They got exactly what they thought they were going to get, and that play worked exactly like it did in practice on Friday.
Yeah, he went back, looked at the first game, and said, that's available.
That is, and they're great. These two teams can look at games, look at those snapshots on the sideline, and make adjustments.
That picked up 30, and after play action, Manning, middle of the field, and another catch at the 10. This time it's Decker.
He wanted to go to the left side. Watch Peyton Manning. Looks to the left side, comes back to the middle, and look how long it took. And this offensive line last week, they got physical against the San Diego Chargers. Wow, look at that step up. And Peyton Manning got every ounce of that body into that throw that time.
Decker had only one catch in that first matchup for 5 yards. He's got 3 catches already here in the first quarter. Sets them up, first and goal to go. And Peyton's going to the end zone, and no flag, incomplete. He was going for Julius Thomas, who had McCourty on him.
Okay, everybody's yelling for pass interference, and it could have been. But now we're starting to see this is just the way it's going to be called. So you got to learn to deal with the strike zone. And there was contact. McCourty never looked back, saw the football. But you got to expect that in championship games. Both teams knew it. Denver talked about it all week long. The most physical guy wins. And that time it was McCourty.
Second and goal. And they run it with Moreno for only a yard. And again, Collins is in on the tackle.
Unbelievable. Jamie Collins, they ran at will against this defense in the first meeting, but already you can see the difference up front, Jim. Salinga inside, Chris Jones, a rookie, more experience, and of course Jamie Collins. What a start by him.
Third and goal. Peyton, all kinds of time back in the end zone and over the head of Decker. Dennard on the coverage.
Really nowhere to throw it. He was trying to throw it high back in the end zone when coverage is tight, but did Peyton Manning, did he have enough time to throw it? Nobody open to his right. There it is. There's the opening. No, he had time. Nobody in front of him, and that was a chance to hit him in the back of the end zone and just missed. And
Chandler Jones said hello at the end of that as Chris Clark was trying to shield him away from his quarterback. Prater is out for a 27-yard attempt. That field goal is good. Prater, who missed only once all regular season long, puts the first points up here at the AFC Championship game. Denver 3-0. Manning and Brady in the postseason, once in the divisional round and twice in an AFC Championship game. 2-1 Brady, but let's also point out that the home team has always won when they've met in the postseason.
You know, Jim, I'm going to go back to that drive. This New England defense, it's, by the way they rank them, they're one of the worst in the NFL, but they don't give up a lot of points because they know how to stop you in the red zone, and there's a good, the holding, we saw it. You and I talked about it. It's a big part of the game today, and we know they're gonna keep those flags in their pockets if they can. So you just got to be ready for it.
How was Thomas supposed to have a chance to catch that ball when McCourty had hold of both of his arms?
Grab McCourty and throw him out of the way. That's how you catch it.
If they're going to let him play like that, the defensive backs, who does it favor?
Well, the wide receivers got to get more physical.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the Volkswagen Passat. That's the power of German engineering. And by Warner Brothers Pictures 300, Rise of an Empire. In theaters March 7th.
So the Patriots, for the third time, start the drive at the 20. Vereen shifted out wide to the left. As Brady has his man there, it is Vereen breaking a tackle. Got away from Trevathan at first. as Rogers Cromartie went for the pick.
He went for it. One of my pet peeves I always talk about. Oh, arm strength is underrated. Yeah, it's overrated, everybody says. How about that laser by Tom Brady? And Rogers Cromartie misjudged it. The ball got by him so much faster than he expected. Tom Brady said, and I've seen it, his arm is stronger right now than it was his rookie year. Throwing the ball great.
It gained 24, their first down, and they play action fake it here and go for the long ball to Edelman, and it's over his head. He was open.
Well, they set this up every game. Edelman's going to go here, go across the field. It was a beautiful play action fake by Tom Brady. Everybody running sideways. Good sell by the offensive lineman, and he has him. And Tom Brady, sometimes you throw it so well, the football travels a few more yards farther than you expect it to go.
2nd and 10, and it's Ridley with his first action, and he's brought down at the 49, run of 5, tackled by Woodyard.
Well, we talked about it. Defensive backs, wide receivers, it's going to be physical. And Jim, here's my answer to you. If you're a wide receiver, be the first wide receiver in this game today to get a pass interference called against you. Go out there and push them back. That's what you have to do. That's how you combat defensive backs that hold.
Kayvon Webster is in that secondary with Rogers Cromartie out on this 3rd and 5. Webster's on Amendola. Brady has great protection and finds his man, Edelman. Tony Carter was trying to defend, but they've moved it now another 18 yards and onto the Denver side of the field at the 33.
How about this pass protection? They can protect Tom Brady. Even when they get injuries, they can overcome them because they have depth with offensive linemen. Edelman, what a good sell job. He's not just a slot receiver. This guy can play outside. We saw it right there.
Rogers Cromartie back on the field, and the running play with Ridley is stopped at the line of scrimmage by Sean Phillips. Tomorrow on CBS, the action drama gets an upgrade. Josh Holloway stars in the new thriller Intelligence. Catch a new episode tomorrow at 10/9 Central on America's #1 network.
You talk about these two teams. Everybody has injuries. The New England Patriots lost their starting right tackle, Sebastian Vollmer. Marcus Cannon has come in and done a great job. Same thing for the Denver Broncos. They lost their all-pro Ryan Clady, and they've had, Chris Clark come in and play very well.
2nd and 10. And again, another play-action fake, and Brady's pass is wide of the mark for Edelman.
Well, Jim, you talked about it. We don't get many game plan notes from the New England Patriots, but Tom Brady, he goes, wow, finally good weather, no rain, no wind, and he goes, we're going to unload what we have. So they can show all the plays that they put in and practice during the year because they have this kind of climate to throw in today.
Josh McDaniels, his offensive coordinator, and of course the former head coach here at Denver. 3rd and 10. Across the middle, and the wiggle, trying to pick up the first. Amendola stopped about a yard short, and we got a flag in the middle of the field.
So many people were crossing the middle, I couldn't figure them out.
It was Colley with the catch for 9. And it's about a yard shy of the first, Colley. Might be a blocking foul here on Edelman.
Pass interference, offense number 47. 10-yard penalty, repeat, 3rd down.
Called on Ho'o Manawanui.
Well, Josh McDaniels, one of the first, I think, offensive coordinators in the league to really have plays where short crossers come across the field and everybody else on the other side is blocking for him.
We've got Rogers Cromartie down on the field, and we'll step aside here. 48 seconds to go in the first.
Watching the NFL on CBS.
Rogers Cromartie got flattened by Edelman. The penalty accepted, back to the 43, 3rd and 20, and here's Edelman. Wide receiver screen, and the Broncos bring him down at the 39. Champ Bailey the first to get to him, hold him to 4.
Well, Jim, couple things. Let's go back to the 3rd down play. Watch number 47. Here's where they call the penalty, and oh my gosh, a pillow fight breaks out, and they finally throw a flag. But why the hit across the field is what Rogers Cromartie by Edelman. Why they took the penalty is because they were afraid that the Patriots were going to go for it on 4th down, which it looks like they're going to do this time here.
I was going to say, guess what? The offense is still huddled, but we're going to come to the end of the quarter. 4th and 16 is what they'll face. Starting the second. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Starting the second quarter, Jim Nance, Phil Simms, Tracy Wolfson. Patriots are going to punt here as we start the quarter. Ryan Allen. Decker runs away from it as the ball takes a very favorable bounce, and it's down by Dane Fletcher at the 5. Next Sunday, don't miss live performances you won't see anywhere else by Katy Perry, Robin Thicke, Lorde, and many more. Music's biggest night, the Grammy Awards. LL Cool J will host it next Sunday, only CBS. So Ryan Allen, who was questionable during the week with a shoulder injury, got hurt on that crazy botched play with the bad snap last week, and then Gostowski had the punt the rest of the game against the Colts. He pins him here at the 7-yard line. They start it.
Ooh, 20.
Moreno in a sprint for 11 behind Zane Beadles.
This offensive line, we said it tough last week. It's the double team by the center, Ramirez and Zane Beadles, that sprung that run that time. The first time they played, Jim, up in New England, the center and the 2 guards, they were fantastic in all double team blocks. They were knocking guys back 5 yards.
Boy, Moreno saw right away and an opening, and he galloped right from the handoff.
20.
And a first down from the 18. Now this time, though, Jamie Collins coming up and making the play. A high school quarterback, went to Southern Miss as a safety. By the end of his college career, he was a defensive end. And here he is, the first selection by the Patriots in last year's draft, and coming on strong.
Yeah, how about that? 0-12 his senior year in college, in a championship game here today in the NFL. And can you imagine seeing him at quarterback in high school as big as he is?
Be a tough guy to bring down. But he said he could throw it.
They all say they can throw it.
2nd and 9. And that pass is dropped. And that was Demaryius Thomas. And that's not because of the sun. The sun is an issue the other direction. Collins, by the way, was coming in on Manning right before the throw.
It's a blitz, and it's just so different to watch the Patriots defense, how they play now. Tight man-to-man coverage, blitzing, trying to put the pressure on the opposing offense.
Aqib Talib is shaken up now. Aqib Talib got wiped out by Wes Welker. Kind of like what we saw Edelman do to Rogers Cromartie, but he did walk off. 3rd and 9 now for Denver.
Ram. 3-7.
All those step counts worked last week, not today so far.
Manning's pass, a floater, is caught right between 2 defenders. Right between Ryan and Arrington, and Welker gains 14.
The pocket was collapsing on Peyton Manning. Watch how tight it gets, and he really gets away with one here. Kyle Arrington overruns it, and he's very fortunate the corner doesn't come up and intercept it from covering the outside guy. So that pressure, that's what they like to do. Push it back, get around his feet, make him nervous, and throw passes like that.
Yeah, it took a long time to get there, but a first down at the 33. 2 tight ends in the game, Thomas and Virgil Green. Excellent protection this time, and now releasing as Thomas, short gainer as Arrington clips him after 2. It's an all-new night of comedy tomorrow on CBS, beginning with How I Met Your Mother and Two Broke Girls, followed by the hit comedy Mike and Molly and Mom. It all starts tomorrow at 8, 7 Central on America's #1 network. Demarius Thomas is not in on this play. Caldwell is. 2nd and 8, going to the ground. And that's Virgil Green, something he hasn't done all season long. He carries the football. Back up, tight end, straight ahead, a little power run for 7 or 8.
I tell you what, he's so big, it works because it does not fool the defense. Chandler Jones misses the tackle, and after contact, he gets a few extra yards. When you see somebody that's not supposed to be in the backfield, it's going to be a different play. I don't know if I would expect to run myself either. I think I thought he was back there to give Peyton a little more protection as he throws the football.
His first ever carry. Sets up a 3rd and 1. Empty backfield. Hands pass over the head of Decker. And now the flag comes out. Logan Ryan had hold of him. That's what they're going to say.
Holding, defense number 26, 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
What a difference a game makes. In the slot, they're worried about the pick. Oh, he had him. He didn't need to grab. He was in position. Last time, Denver ran at will. Today, 3rd and short. They're throwing the football with nobody in the backfield.
So a first down at the 47. And that's Moreno slashing back to the inside. First contact by Hightower. It picks up 3, and Talib, who was shaken up. Well, he's going in. I mentioned he got hit by Welker. Look at this lick. Talib, a huge part of that secondary for New England.
Yeah, it's a big deal. The good thing is the Patriots do have a little depth, but it takes their #1 guy off of Demarius Thomas, which you said is a big deal.
2nd and 7. Ball is the running back. And Ball is the target. Ball goes between them and picks up the first down. Gain of 12.
Well, Jim, what they do, great window dressing. They stack receivers on the left, and the defense is trying to cover the 2 receivers. And Peyton Manning, all year long, never hesitates. If you're going to give him the back out of the backfield for a short gain, he throws it to him immediately. Don't wait for somebody to come open. Take the open guy.
On first down, sideline route, and he was open as the defender slipped. Ryan, Decker unable to grab it.
Yep, a lot of contact on the outside. The timing was thrown off. That's why you have contact. And this all started back in the 2004 championship game when Peyton Manning was playing against the New England Patriots. The Patriots came out and just hit anything that moved. They grabbed, they did everything they could in the defensive backfield, and it worked.
That was the Marvin Harrison against Ty Law matchup where they changed the rules after that game.
Absolutely.
2nd and 10. And that pass just a little too wide of the mark for Welker. And Commons was in the area.
Yeah, he's the lurker. They call that the rat, whatever you want to say. Somebody that's just kind of inside, trying to read the quarterback and do exactly that. Look for short crossing routes and see if you can break them up.
Oh, Marshall!
Lion. 3-7! 3-7! Hot! Bags, Montana, 5-man!
Listen to how quiet the crowd is.
Bags, Montana, Omaha!
They go draw on 3rd and 10. And a hurdle move for the first. And Moreno still on his feet down to the 11. That one move, which was about a yard in front of the first down marker, made it for 28.
When you look at it, there is nobody near the line of scrimmage except the 4 defensive linemen. So once he gets past the 4 defensive linemen, it's about who can come up and make the tackle. Great job by Moreno getting those extra yards.
So they fool him on the draw play on 3rd and 10. They've converted on this drive a 3rd and 9 and the 3rd and 10. And now first down from the 11. And it's Ball. driving ahead near the one. Running behind Vasquez.
Well, if they're begging you to run the football, then you just sometimes got to run it. When you get down inside the 10-yard line, the Patriots love to double team wide receivers. If you do that, who's going to be there to stop the run? Nobody that time.
They've got a defensive lineman in on offense here. Mitch Unrein offset to the left. Ball is the deep back, 2nd and 1. 2 yards out from the end zone.
Mike is Mike! Omaha!
And it's ball. Going to be just short of a first.
You know, Jim, this Omaha that you hear, they talked about so much during the week. Peyton Manning, when he runs out of time, he just says Omaha, then it's sit, hunt, let's go. But you can't trust that on the defensive side because he'll do it until his offense disregard it, then you jump off sides, which we saw last week with the San Diego Chargers. So it's, you know, he's up there doing all that checking, and the play clock's going down. He doesn't have time to go on the long step count, so that Omaha alerts him, play clock's down, get ready for the quick snap.
Boy, it got a lot of attention last week, didn't it?
Yeah, it sure did.
I mean, the most we've heard out of Omaha since Warren Buffett. But they asked for a spot here, and it's going to be about 6 inches shy. Just outside the 1.
I like Peyton Manning's explanation on Omaha. Well, it could be a pass, could be a run, we could be changing the play, could be, he gave him like 6 different things.
And by the way, he has been to Omaha before, he told us. Went there for a charity event a few years back. So here we go, 14th play of this drive. It started all the way back at the 7.
3-7!
3rd and inches.
Mike is Mike! Omaha!
They go with ball outside and near the first down yardage. Hightower pushed him back. So did Villano. Looks like the spot is going to be enough for the first. It is. And Mitch Unrein was again on that play, the defensive tackle.
Yeah, it looks like he definitely gets past. I thought when we saw it live, you're right. The football usually follows the big guy, and that's Mitch Unrein.
1st and goal.
Hot! Mike is Mike! Omaha!
Play action fake. Rolling out. Peyton throws, and it's a touchdown! Jacob Tamme.
When you're that close to the goal line, the defense sells out. Everybody plays run, and look, everybody is open down the field. Good job by Peyton Manning. The initial receiver was covered. He found the next one coming across, Jacob Tamme.
His old Indianapolis teammates. Tamme caught 1 touchdown in the regular season, and it came against New England. His first career playoff touchdown. It's a 93-yard drive, and it ends in the arms of Tamme for the game's first touchdown. 10-0.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Verizon. Powerful answers. Bank of America. And by the all-new 2014 Chevy Silverado.
Denver has just tied its longest drive of the season. 7 minutes and 1 second. 93 yards, 15 plays. Converting 3 times on 3rd down. And Vereen takes a knee. Belichick addressing the defense right now that has surrendered 12 first downs. Only 2 picked up so far by the Patriots. in the pocket and open. A rifle shot to Dobson, out to the 47, gain of 27.
What a route by Dobson. Aaron Dobson, he's the guy on the outside. I think he's going to go deep. He is sprinting, and watch, boom, stops in front of the defense. He was actually double covered, but he sold it so well. And you said it right. Tom Brady, he talked about it. His arm, he's got it in the slot, throwing it great.
And it's a handoff to Blunt. And that time for 3. Let's go down to Tracy.
Well, guys, we saw Patriots cornerback Aqib Talib being taken off the field. He went directly to the X-ray room and then onto the locker room. It is a rib injury. His return is questionable, guys.
How about this? Last year in the AFC title game, he injured a leg in the first quarter against the Ravens in the AFC title game and never returned.
Danny Trevathan lost his helmet, so he's going to have to come out of the game. Wesley Woodyard comes in for him. Boy, Denver, you said it, Jim, 12 first downs to 3 right now for New England.
2nd and 7 for New England at midfield. And it's a pass out of the backfield to Perrine, and he's got a hole. That was Dobson who made the big catch for 27, who was on that side and helped open things up for 13 more.
Yeah, it's just a screenplay. That's all it is. He drops back, throws it to Vereen immediately, and the receivers are blocking down the field.
Talib trots back onto the sideline. And this is the deepest penetration of the game to this point for New England. It's Blunt. And they're on him today in a hurry. 3 more for Blunt. Trevathan, after missing 1 play, comes back out, makes that tackle. Don't forget the Pro Bowl. It's all new this year on conferences. Jerry Rice and Deion Sanders will be selected to teams in a draft this Wednesday. And then you can watch the game live from Hawaii next Sunday. Just go to NFL.com/Pro Bowl to learn more. Blunt now, 4 carries, 6 yards. And now Brady will spread it out. Devlin at the bottom of your screen, 2nd and 8. Pump fake and pass caught by Ho'omanawanui. First down at the 20.
Great read by Tom Brady. He wants to throw this to Dami Amendola. Coming across, it's not open, and then he holds the second receiver. When you have short crossers, if it's covered, usually you'll see an in cut. That's what it was. But Manawanui coming from the other side. Good job by Tom Brady being patient.
And a good job by Ryan Wendell holding off the rookie first-rounder Sylvester Williams to give Brady that time. And this time it's Terrence Knight stopping Blunt for no gain. Now this rush defense of the Broncos has been top 10 almost all season long.
Well, it deserves it. Terrence Knight is the biggest key to it. Hard to block him inside. And Sylvester Williams talked about him. 1st-round draft pick has really come on since he took over for Kevin Vickerson.
Sean Phillips shaken up. The former Charger who made some big plays last week in the victory.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Pepsi. Get hyped and welcome Bruno Mars to the stage. And by State Farm. It pays to double check. Talk to your agent today.
Taking a look at our nationwide insurance action cam. Sean Phillips to the sideline. Robert Ayers comes in for him, a former first-rounder out of Tennessee. And Rogers Cromartie, who was shaken up, and he was knocked down by Edelman. He's back out there. 2nd and 10. Edelman with the wiggle to get away from Adams, but coming up is Trevathan, and the ball is out. And they whistle him down.
Well, Jim, let's go. I like what New England's doing, throwing the football, because this defense, you said it, it's tough against the run. They have really good speed on the defensive side, and we see it on that play right there. Danny Trevathan, there were times this year for about a 5 or 6 game span he was the best linebacker maybe in the NFL. As he comes down the ground, it is definitely not a fumble. Contact, hits the ground, no fumble.
Only a gain of 2. And it's 3rd and 8. And a timeout. New England.
Well, as quiet as that crowd is when Peyton's on the field, they're every bit as loud when he's off the field.
You see Phillips is back on the field. Brady was unhappy about that timeout. He felt forced to call. And the game plan here by New England, a lot of people might have thought, well, we're going to see that Patriot power game like we've seen the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But, you know, they are pretty game specific. You know, he's talking about the Patriots preparing for a team. You didn't expect this was going to be the exact same thing at all.
No, you said it many times. That you could read in between the lines. We thought they would come out and throw the football. And, oh, by the way, if they were playing the Indianapolis Colts again, then they would probably run the football. But this is the Denver Broncos. Everybody has thrown the football on this defense with pretty good success. They're 27th, or they were 27th in the NFL, giving up passing yards this past year.
Jack Del Rio, the defensive coordinator who was the interim coach in that matchup 8 weeks ago with Fox, sideline after the heart surgery. 3rd and 8. Brady with pressure, and they knock him down at the 29. It's Robert Ayers.
Robert Ayers, 91, just gets inside and gets to Tom Brady. He got there because the initial coverage to Tom Brady, they were trying to confuse the defense by switching receivers. Denver was all over him. He held the football, and Ayers gets the sack.
And it's a loss of 11. It brings out Gostowski for a 47-yard field goal attempt. Just a little light breeze into him. Allen on the hold. And Gostowski's kick is good for the Patriots' first points. So they inched into the red zone, and then the Broncos defense stiffened and then got the sack by Ayers. 10-3, Denver. Well, November the 24th, New England was down at halftime 24-0. Of course, came back with the biggest comeback in Belichick history at New England and the biggest lead given up ever by the Denver franchise. Coach Belichick, in his 8 AFC championship game, the first 7 never trailed at halftime, but lost 2 of them. As Indianapolis, led by Peyton, came back from 21-3 down late second quarter. And last year, Baltimore came back from a halftime deficit. Gostowski delivers the touchback. Well, they're getting set back in New York for the Verizon halftime report. JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, Coach Cowher. Their take on the first half here. And all the latest conference championship news coming up on the Verizon halftime report. So far, Manning has put it up 19 times for 141 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, what a difference for them. Last time they played, what they run for? Well over close to 300 yards rushing by Denver.
It was 280, the most ever allowed by a Belichick team at New England. Here they go to the ground. Trying to shake off their early contact by Salinga, and then Ninkovich finishes off Moreno behind the line, loss of 2.
You know, Jim, we did the Denver Broncos a week after that New England game, and they said they learned something. They would never play a game again and let their quarterback, of course, Peyton Manning, and the receivers get out of rhythm. They ran it so well, when it became third down, Peyton Manning's like, well, I have no feel for what they're doing. Quarterbacks need, just like basketball, you got to get some shots to get in that groove.
Call it 2nd and 11. Fake to Moreno. As Manning's pass is pulled down by Welker. Tough catch, and he made it. Got a flag out.
Holding Offense, number 75. This penalty be assessed half the distance to the goal, second down.
Huge call right here, denying the first down and now putting them in a second and long.
Top of your screen, number 75, definitely got the arm and pulls him down. It's Andre Carter. And that was a tough throw Peyton Manning made down the field. Very tight coverage. When you stay to receivers, Jim, you stay on them that tight, sooner or later one of those footballs is going to be tipped up in the air.
2-minute warning. 10-3 Broncos, and you're watching the NFL on CBS. The man who runs the football operations for the Broncos, John Elway, the last man to take this franchise to the Super Bowl. He won it and retired back in the '98 season. Went back-to-back. Second and 20 coming out of the 2-minute warning.
Single, Manny, single. Go.
Take the run. They find Thomas. He's got a first down. Demaryius Thomas out to the 38.
Well, you got to remember, coming across right side, this is where Aqib Talib would be against Demaryius Thomas. Of course, he was looking forward to it so much because he had great success against Thomas up in New England early this year.
Go, go, go.
And on first down, landing again to Demaryius, and he cuts to the right and all the way down to the 36, just like that. Now the Broncos have their full allotment of timeouts.
Alfonso Dinner, number 37, middle of your screen. Oh, that's a nice little stutter step. That stutter step told Peyton Manning, I'm getting ready to come out of my break, so he can anticipate the throw and put it right on the money.
Boy, just after that holding call where you thought maybe they would have him backed up and have to punt, giving the Patriots a chance before the half. And now Denver can strike. Plus, they get the second half kick. Coming back for it. It's Caldwell for another 11. He beat Logan Ryan. Robert Kraft, Jonathan Kraft, the president of the franchise, the Kraft family having bought the Patriots 20 years ago. This coming Tuesday is the anniversary date.
John Bon Jovi there next to him, big football fan.
He's down on the sideline for warm-ups. Peyton's over 200 yards passing in his first half. And watch how he operates the final 52 seconds.
Go.
And that's ball. Just a short gainer, give him 3.
You know, Jim, it just shows you when you take away the best defensive player, the best defensive back for sure for New England, you take him off of Demaryius Thomas, Peyton Manning immediately looks for a couple one-on-one situations, and Demaryius Thomas came through and doesn't look like that knee that we saw him tweak at practice on Friday is bothering him at all, running fast and awfully quick.
Boy, was he worried about it when we met with Demaryius on Friday after the injury.
Go.
Second and 7. And knocked right down by McCourty. It's Welker. And a timeout called by Denver.
You know, Jim, it's like we were there. We saw him tweak his knee, Demaryius Thomas, on Friday. It was a concern because he didn't come back into practice. So John Fox psychologically went over, patted him on the back, said, you'll be okay, picked up some dirt off the ground and rubbed it on his knee and goes, yeah, you're okay now.
Yeah, he said, we call that an owie.
You just got an owie. You're going to be all right.
But, you know, Thomas has taken them from all the way back at the 10 after the holding call, those 2 big catches back-to-back for 55 yards on this drive. And Talib, of course, is out. And that was the matchup we were really going to be paying close attention to. And again, the Verizon halftime report will be coming up. JB and the crew ready to go back in the studio with all the latest conference championship news and their take on the first half on the Verizon halftime report. But it's a 3rd and 5 here. 40 seconds now. Put a few seconds back on the clock.
Single, single. Go. Go.
At the backfield, Moreno, and he fights for it, but he's a yard short. Good tackle by the rookie Ryan. 4th and 1. And a timeout called by Denver.
Well, timeout called. Now you got time not only to save the clock, but you got more time to think about what you're going to do in a situation like this. You could ask for a measurement just to see if it's, a full yard, half a yard, and that can help you decide what to do on your play call.
Boy, I don't know that you turn away the field goal try because it could make it a 2-score game here.
Yep, that's what they're going to do. It looks like they're going to bring the field goal team out.
But I got to say, now if you're going to go field goal, you wish you hadn't have called the timeout, because now, Brady could do something with some 25 seconds to go, let's say.
Yeah, I understand, but John Fox called the timeout to think about it just for a second. I think overall he likes to play things conservatively. I agree with this call. Get some points on the board. It was a terrific drive by this Denver offense here at the end of the first half.
Peyton was 6 for 6 on that drive. This will be a 35-yard attempt for Prater. And Prater's field goal is good. The Pro Bowler, 2 for 2 today.
Well, the new John Fox thought about it for a second. That's why he called a timeout, but went back to what he truly is, and that just play the situations. You said it, Jim, 2 scores. That's why he kicked the field goal.
His 3rd year on the sidelines here. Fox, 3 years postseason appearances. We're talking about Thomas and Talib.
Here it was early. Get your hands on him. Aqib Talib said to us he loves big receivers because he can get his hands on them. And of course you can. They're big targets. Oh boy, what a job that time weaving Dennard across the field.
Yeah, this is without Talib. This highlight there. Demarius with 3 catches on the game, 82 yards.
When a defensive back like Talib, when he gets hurt, that makes you switch guys around. And so when you start working your way down that ladder, of course it's going to affect your defense and your football team.
Now New England has a couple of timeouts. Assuming Prater again will deliver a touchback. Put him at the 20.
Well, let's see if they get a return first.
That's going to go through the back of the end zone. Amendola fields it. It's the first time today he's had his hands on a football, Amendola.
Well, right here, when you're in a situation like this, especially the game, it's not gone your way. Some of the calls, the penalty that took away points for the Patriots in that one drive. But if Tom Brady, they'll test the water here probably a little bit. A safe throw, maybe a draw. But the number one thing, it's not about trying to get points. Just make sure you don't make a mistake.
Well, they're going to spread it out here with the likes of Colley and Dobson joining Edelman and Amendola. Brady's pass in the area of Edelman.
Just a good throwaway by Tom Brady. Edelman was beat at the line of scrimmage. The contact took him right off the route in the slot. There's the contact. No chance. But if he'd have just released cleanly inside there, there was a seam up the field maybe to get this drive started.
21 seconds left in the half. Brady, second time, and is batted down. A flag is out. Rogers Cromartie stepping in front of Dobson to bat it down.
Little offsides that time.
Offside. Defense number 90 in the neutral zone at the snap. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
Sean Phillips, top of your screen. Don't know if there was any voice inflection, hard to hear with all the noise the crowd makes. I don't know if Tom Brady saw that the flag was out. If he saw that jump, then he did the right thing. Look down the field.
Fake into the line and go deep down the sideline. And there was separation there for Colley, but the pass over his head and out of bounds.
Oh, beautiful. He had what he wanted. Fake it down the middle. Once the safety doesn't get there, top of your screen is the route. And look at that. You got the safety. And see how his feet are turned? Tom Brady throws it on a line. It's a big play down the sideline right before the half. Two big pass plays today missed by this Patriots offense.
3rd and 5 in 9 seconds. And that's a run with Vereen. And that's going to close out the half. Denver will go to the locker room leading by 10. The Patriots have had some magnificent comebacks this season. None bigger than the first matchup against the Broncos. Do they have it in them again? That's the end of the first half with the score. Denver 13, New England 3. Back with the Verizon halftime report in a moment. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
Two great teams. 106 players give everything they have for a trip to the Super Bowl. This game is about them.
AFC Championship, 3rd quarter about to commence with the Broncos receiving the second half kickoff. And again, you can follow the NFL, your favorite team, all the time at iTunes.com/NFL. Around Denver, ever since the loss at New England, squandering the 24-point halftime lead, it's always been about finish, finish, finish. They close out practices with that mantra. And I'm sure they're talking about it today coming out of the locker room here.
I'm sure they are, and that's what it's about. And, of course, I think the halftime guys, they said it right. New England's defense has got to find a way to get off the field. And to me, the big question, you and I have talked about this, does New England have the receiving core? Can they consistently beat the defensive backs of Denver to get back in this game? So that's what we're going to find out. You know, they've been running the football with power, but you got Julian Edelman, Danny Amendola, and Aaron Dobson. Can one of them start to dominate to help Tom Brady get this done?
Trendon Holiday is standing in the back of the end zone. Gostowski delivered 7 out of 7 touchbacks last week in the poor weather divisional win against Indianapolis. He's got another one here. Let's go down to Tracy Wolfson.
Well, thanks a lot. Bill Belichick, always short and to the point. He said it has not helped not having Aqib Talib out there. He also then looked at me and he said, we only have 3 points. We need a lot more than 3 points. As for John Fox, he was happy with their first half play. He told them, just let's think of it as 0-0 and go win this half. And guys, just a heads up, Aqib Talib, the last guy out of the locker room. As soon as I get a report, I'll pass it along to you.
And here he is on the sideline right now as Denver gets ready to snap it at the 20.
20.
It's Moreno. And he is punished after a gain of 1. Hightower's made a lot of plays today. Brady sacked for 1 time, 114 yards. Manning with 100 more at 214. You're talking about the first and the third highest scoring teams in the league this year, and a total of 16 points on the board. Denver shattering all the scoring records this year, and Manning on 2nd and 9 with a comeback route. In front of Logan Ryan, Decker with the grab. Let's check the flag. Tony Correnti's crew. There's a flag back at the line of scrimmage, and there's one in the secondary also.
I think the one at the line of scrimmage might be defensive holding.
There are fouls against both teams that will offset. Holding, offense number 75. This penalty is declined. You've got pass interference, offense number 87, pass interference, defense number 26. These penalties will offset. Replay, 2nd down.
No.
There's a lot wrong with that play.
Yeah, I don't know where to start with it. You're right, a lot went wrong. It was a good throw into tight coverage by Peyton Manning. But you look at this, New England, they said it at halftime, get off the field. Somebody has got to start winning the battles and getting to Peyton Manning and quit giving him those second looks down the field.
2nd and 9, replaying the down. And Manning's pass complete. And taking it all the way to the ground as Decker, as Ryan tried to reach in and strip it, but sure hands there by Decker. 18 picked up.
Let's play quarterback, play action fake, look at that pocket, has room, and wonderful anticipation by Peyton Manning throwing outside. They're trying to push the pocket. Look, they got some good receivers. They can win the one-on-one battles outside. That's what they did their time.
And on first down, it's a nice piece of running by Moreno for another 6, and now we're getting from the sideline on the New England side, that is, that Talib not only a rib injury, but also a knee issue. We thought we saw him hobbling a bit, and now, of course, the status is still questionable if we'll see him at all the rest of the way as he sits out this first defensive series of the second half.
Well, Bill Belichick said it right to Tracy. It's a big deal not having him in there, and you know he's disappointed by the 3 points. They thought they were going to go down this field today against Denver's defense and get it done.
2nd and 4.
Wrong! Watch TT, man. Omaha!
That'll pick up a first down as Demaryius Thomas spins down to the Patriot 40-yard line.
Nobody in the middle of the field that time. Usually there's the linebacker, leaves, never sees the second crosser. So that's what you do. Get Hightower looking at the first crosser, just let him get out of the picture, and then throw it to the receiver coming underneath Demaryius Thomas.
Thomas out, Caldwell in. Thomas just 3 yards shy of 100 on 4 catches.
Purple 20! Purple 20! Hot! Mike is Mike! Blue 20! Blue!
And on first down, they'll go to the rookie ball. Stutter step pass, Collins, the other rookie, who's made so many plays today, and he picks up 5.
You know, Jim, talking about Demaryius Thomas, such a big deal here in that last scoring drive and even here in the second half. He admitted up in New England that Aqib Talib definitely won the battle and was kind of not psyched out about it, but worried about this matchup here today. So it's a shame we're not getting to watch more of it.
No, 54.
Julius Thomas comes out, and on that right side of the line is Jacob Tammy, who has scored the game's only touchdown to this point. 2nd and 6. Decker, first down. With a block by Caldwell on that side.
Well, they got it rolling now. They got it all going. Protecting Peyton Manning, a few runs, throw to the sidelines, and now the screens. The wide receiver screens were so dynamic for this team this year. Think about the back all the way to their first game against the Baltimore Ravens. Demaryius Thomas catching one and going about 80 yards. They did it most of the year. It's quieted down here of late, but it's always in the arsenal.
Peyton has hit his last 10 throws. And he's got a first down at the 27 of New England. And that's good for 3 more for Moreno. And how important is this first drive of the second half by the Broncos?
Well, it's you got to start looking at it from this way. This New England defense, they have been on the field a lot. Look at everybody out there right now. Hands on their hips, standing tall, trying to get some air.
In the thin air here of the Mile High City. There's Chandler Jones with his hands on his hips. Julius Thomas comes back out for this snap. He's on the left side. 2nd and 7. And Demaryius Thomas is wrestled down short of the first by Dennard. Another 4 for Thomas.
Why is it so hard to get to Peyton Manning? One, he can get rid of the football quick. He can read the defenses. But a good offensive line and all the things that they do. In other words, you don't know if he's going to hold the ball and look down the field, throw a screen, or just get rid of it quick.
An offensive line that surrendered only 20 sacks on the year, the fewest in the league.
Bear! Hey, great to 54!
3rd and 3. As Peyton resets with 3 on the play clock, and he's going to have to call the timeout. He hates to take one there, but a big 3rd and 3 on the way. First, the Manning timeout.
Oh, he saw blitz on the other side and just didn't have enough time to change the play and get his guys in the right position.
91, Ram.
3rd and 3. And he's got the first down with Julius Thomas, who had those huge 3rd down catches a week ago. 4 of them a week ago, picking up first.
You never know where the offense is going to go. They thought Julius Thomas was going to be a big part of this game today, but instead, Demaryius Thomas got hot along with Eric Decker. But Devin McCourty against Julius Thomas, they loved that matchup. That's why Peyton Manning went there.
And they're 6 out of 9 on 3rd down.
Watch it. Bags, Montana, 5-man. Bags, 54, Ryan. Omaha.
Moreno with a pickup of 7, and his 28-yard draw run in the first half was so huge and setting up the touchdown.
Well, look at it, Jim. There's nobody inside. I missed it. It's only Dante Hightower, and Peyton Manning warned us. Once you get inside the 20, if they want to play all these coverages, which they're famous for, we have to run the football, and he's done it twice for great gains so far today.
2nd and 3, as this first drive of the second half has shortened this game considerably. And now Manning to the end zone, over the top and over everyone, including Julius Thomas.
You know, the Patriots at sideline, Bill Belichick, Matt Patricia, the defensive coordinator, they're thinking one thing. 8 minutes and 30 seconds ago here in the 3rd quarter. What a drive, but if you hold them to 3, man, that is a big-time victory for the New England football team and, of course, the defense.
Now they've doubled the play count, tripled the yardage, and now face a 3rd and 3. And they're going to run for it, and they're going to get it. As Ball runs into 3 Patriots well past the first down yardage.
Yep, here's why. Look, just one guy, 4 down linemen. Peyton Manning sees it, and it is easy picking. The offensive line gets up on Hightower. They cut it back and pick up the yards.
And a drive now that's approaching 7 minutes. Adam Gase, the offensive coordinator, as Peyton calls him the young superstar.
He gives Peyton Manning 2 plays. He gets to pick which one he likes.
Fake to the end zone. Touchdown, Demaryius Thomas.
You ran at the line of scrimmage. Demaryius Thomas won at the line of scrimmage. Watch him on the outside. He gives a great shake. Dennard, oh, what a move. Fakes it outside. Dennard has to honor that first move. It's man-to-man coverage, and what a stick. Put that foot in the ground and came back inside and wide open.
7 minutes and 8 seconds, almost half the quarter, coming out of the locker room, making it the longest touchdown drive of the season by the Broncos, eclipsing the one they put up in the first half that was just 7 seconds shorter. Demaryius Thomas, his confidence is soaring with Talib out, and he has the touchdown to put Denver up 17.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Frost Brewed Coors Light, the game's most refreshing beer. And by Nissan and the all-new Rogue. Nissan, innovation that excites.
And a look at our nationwide insurance action cam as Denver hosts its 6th AFC championship game today, and its first since the 05 season when Pittsburgh came in here and actually won as a 6th seed on its way to winning the Super Bowl over Seattle. That's the last time that Denver hosted this game. Of course, New England in the AFC title game for the third consecutive year. And all of the drives for the Patriots starting at the 20. And that'll be the case once again. They picked up 6 first downs on that touchdown drive, matching New England's total for the entire first half. Almost as many first downs by Denver as plays run by New England. The 2 touchdown drives have added up to almost a full quarter of action, keeping New England off the field. Brady on first down. It's the little slant pass to Dobson for 6.
Well, Tom Brady's had a chance for 2 really big plays today, and he overthrew them both. That one wasn't. This one down the sideline, and there were points in each of those throws. So that's what Bill Belichick was telling Tracy Wolfson at halftime. 3 points, he knows there should be more.
And again, Brady spreads it out, loads up the right side. And it's Kareem, and he is stopped short of the first by Nate Irving. Holds him to 3.
Jim, what did we say coming back at halftime? Now we're going to find out. This wide receiving core for the New England Patriots, it really hasn't been tested whether they can go out and win the game, because they've been running the football very well and they mixed in the pass. Now it's about throwing and catching.
3rd and 1. Brady slides to the right, picks up the first with Austin Collie. With Tony Carter trying to defend him there. Gain of 7.
That was a really tremendous play by Tom Brady. It's designed to go left, and then he just stops and wheels to his right and makes a throw to Collie. That's a big first down.
That was Marcus Cannon blocking on Sean Phillips. Collie, the former Manning teammate at Indianapolis, picks up the first. And it's Ridley cutting ahead for 5, maybe 6. Trevathan takes him to the turf.
Good change up. Bill Belichick telling Matt Patricia what they got to do. Whatever they've been doing, they need to change it.
Harris Lennon of the Broncos is down on 1 knee.
Harris Lennon has come in and started at middle linebacker, Jim. He's bigger, he's fresh, hadn't played as much as Wesley Woodyard, who's a little smaller linebacker. And Harris Lennon is one of the big reasons why we've seen this defense the last couple of weeks, along with the D tackles, stopping run games.
Yeah, he's been the starter late in the season. Brady walked into our meeting on Friday night and said, you know, that defense got 5 different starters than the one I saw 8 weeks ago, Lennon being one of them.
Look at number 51.
That's where it happened.
Got leg whipped.
Yeah, Lennon was not a starter 8 weeks back. Of course, Vickerson was there, Wolf, Harris, and Vaughn Miller. Second and 5 with 5.5 to go in the 3rd. And that pass drops by Amendola, who is still without a catch today.
Even from this far away, it looks like he takes his eyes off the football. Yes, he did, because he saw Mitch Unrein, the defensive lineman who dropped back in coverage in front of him.
Third and 5. They give him the time, and he's got the target. It's Clolley. Well, he juggled it a bit, but give him 12 on the play.
Yeah, really good design. They stack the receivers up top. What's that do? That makes the defense get a little softer back up and allowed Cawley to get wide open to the outside. Protection once again, very good for Tom Brady to make that throw.
Austin Collie, who's been signed, cut, re-signed 4 times this season by New England. 2 catches on this drive. On first down, they fake the end around to Edelman. And now they're going for the big ball. Down the field they go, and it's over everyone's head. Dobson was the target, and there's Champ Bailey who was running with him.
Champ Bailey was all over it, never jumped around. It's going to be up here. They're going to make a little double move. But the big thing is, watch the corner play. Stays on the outside, knows he has help inside, and he doesn't bite on the little in cut. That's why he was in perfect position and nowhere for Tom Brady to throw and complete that.
The 35-year-old Champ Bailey trying to get to a Super Bowl for the first time in his Hall of Fame career. 2nd and 10. And it's handed off to Bareen. And a hard piece of running for 8. Maybe 9. You can download the NFL mobile app for access to the Super Bowl 48 Guide app. And to learn how you can watch all of the Super Bowl live on your phone, just go to *NFL or go to NFL.com/mobile.
Well, Jim, here they are in this position to score. This is 4-down territory. Wouldn't be surprised about a run.
And it's a sneak, which Brady is just outstanding on that play.
Well, they haven't done this as much this year, but they read the defense, they put all the foot, and it's a quick snap, and they're just great at firing off the football and catching the defense by surprise.
And he's got the first down with ease.
You know, the hurry-up offense, the hurry-up runs, and the quarterback sneak have been so key to this Patriots offense over the last few years.
Tenth play of this drive, and it's Ridley. He's cutting outside and steps out of bounds after a gain of 8. And Matthew Mulligan is able to help seal that side for him.
Well, if you're sitting home going, well, this is what the Patriots should have been doing all day long. Well, remember, circumstances have changed. They got the defense maybe a little tired, and there's no doubt Denver, they're thinking about getting to the quarterback and not stopping the run.
The 2nd and 2. Run it again with Ridley, and he's tripped up right away by Terrence Knighton.
How about this big guy? His nickname is Pot Roast. You can understand why. But inside, able to get up the field. How about that stopping and cutting back and making the tackle? He has been the key offseason acquisition for the defensive side, and he's lived up to it.
Former Jacksonville Jaguar, who was called 1 minute into free agency by Jack Del Rio. His coordinator here, his former head coach in Jacksonville. 3rd and 2. Brady looking for options. And it's dropped. Bareen was walloped. Trevathan was one of those who collided with him. The ball also, I believe, was tipped at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, no doubt it was tipped at the line of scrimmage, so there's not going to be any pass interference down the field. Malik Jackson gets the tip. I was going to say New England would kick the field goal here to make it 2 scores, but they decide, they made the judgment. Bill Belichick, our defense is going to give up some more points. That's why they're going for it here on 4th down.
So they bypass what would be about a 47-yard field goal. Or maybe they'll talk about it because they're taking a timeout here.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Dr. Pepper. Always one of a kind. And by McDonald's. I'm loving it.
Wow, interesting thing just unfolded. Watch what happened. Bottom of the screen, John Fox calling for a timeout.
Look at Bill Belichick. He's running up the sideline to call timeout also.
And then Brady turns around, signals time, but they charge it to Denver, leaving the Broncos with 1. Here it is, 4th and 2. They're not going to go for the 47-yard field goal. Low snap, Brady, pressure, and he's taken down. Terrence Knighton. Broncos Broncos take over on downs. Terrence Knight, he was an all-state wide receiver in high school in the Hartford area of Connecticut, growing up as a Patriot fan. He's made the big play here as New England's denied after keeping the football for 5.5 minutes. On first down. That is ball hit first by Arrington, and he'll lose a couple of yards.
Couple things to look at. It's the move at the line of scrimmage. 94 against Logan Mankins. Quick move, gets right around, and how about that? Fast enough to bring Tom Brady down. Wide receivers, Amendola growing across the field. 80's open. Look at Aaron Dobson behind, wide open. So he's going to have places to throw the football if he just had a half a second more to throw it. Jack Del Rio had Knighton down in Jacksonville. When free agency came about, his first phone call was to Terrence Knight.
It's not very often, all the years we've watched Logan Mankins play, anybody beat him like that. 2nd and 12. And again over to Julius Thomas, and he's got running room for a first down. Yes, a first down it is, as they spotted at the New England 49-yard line.
Well, Jim, you go back to that 4th down try. If they would have kicked the field goal, I know it was 47 yards, but here in Denver, that to me equals about a 35-yarder because the ball travels so far. If they kick the field goal, they're 2 scores down. A totally different ball game for the Patriots, and emotionally a totally different game too.
Poker!
Peyton's hit 15 of his last 16 throws. In the final minute of the 3rd quarter, going down the field, and it's Thomas who snatches it away from Dennard, and he's just killing Dennard.
Well, the only guy on this defense that can match up with Demaryius Thomas was Aqib Talib. And you said it, watch him go up and just rip it out of the air. What a difference Peyton Manning in 2 years, what Demaryius Thomas has done, and what Peyton Manning has helped him do. Become one of the best wide receivers in the NFL.
That puts Peyton over 309 yards, and Thomas is having the monster game. 7 catches, 134 yards. It's ball. What a cut. And down to the 11. That's going to bring us to the end of the 3rd quarter. 20-3 Denver, and driving again, and you're watching the NFL on CBS. Jim Nantz, Bill Sims, Tracy Wolfson back here at the AFC Championship game. Brady's been sitting on that bench and has not looked up until now for a long stretch, as the Broncos have dominated in this one through 3 quarters. Got a 2nd and 3, positioned at the Patriots 12. Ball outside. That was Thomas with the block, and he's going to get flagged for it. Julius Thomas.
Holding, offense, number 80. 10-yard penalty, repeat, 2nd down.
Top of the screen, number 80.
On Ninkovich.
Ninkovich, yeah, that's pretty strong when you take Rob Ninkovich down. But what a difference in the games from when they played up in New England. Denver ran, and now this time they only run it just to give Peyton Manning a chance to catch his breath. Spreading them out, new formations.
91 fight!
And just taking the pass rush and completely eliminating it because of all the repetitions and plays. This defensive line, you can only rush the passer so many times.
2nd and 13. What a move. Julius Thomas up and over the last defender to pick up another first down.
See, the thought on the defensive side was really good. Let him throw it short, we'll make the tackle. The problem is, this guy is one terrific athlete, Julius Thomas. They think extremely high of him, the Denver Broncos do, and so does Peyton Manning, the ex-basketball player, learning to become a really good football player.
And again, he was not dressed for the game at Foxborough. He was out with a knee. That's a gain of 14 and a first and goal. Moreno down to the 5. And a flag has been thrown.
Holding, offense, number 68. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
Well, the good news is New England gets the holding penalty, moves them back 10 yards. The bad news is Peyton Manning has more room to throw the football now. No pass rush, not under pressure, and just so many ways to go with these weapons.
He's posting numbers very similar to what we saw virtually all regular season long. The record-setting season as he loads it up again over to Welker at the 10 to the 5 and down to the 3. Welker, who caught more of Tom Brady's passes than any other receiver in Brady's career, has a gain of 16.
Well, he put Julius Thomas out to his left, the tight end. 2 defenders went out there, so where do you think Peyton Manning's going to go? Well, let me go to the side with Decker, Demaryius Thomas, and Wes Welker, wide open.
Welker, who delivered the speech to the team last night in their final meeting. Second and goal. A little shovel pass to Julius Thomas, and that's well defended by Hightower.
Well, it's just being aggressive, playing it, calling everything now. Making New England just sit over there and guess. Last time we saw the shovel pass, Jim, we did the game down in Dallas.
A shootout game it was.
And he worked for a touchdown, not that time.
Third and goal. See if Peyton goes back to Omaha and the Broncos can deliver a roar that could be heard all the way to Nebraska. Peyton drops. Thomas had it in his hands.
Well, it was really well executed again. Watch the little pick on top. And Devin McCourty did a great job going around. And it looks like he gets his hand in there. Nope, it's just a drop by Julius Thomas.
Just his second incompletion of his last 21 passes, and it should have been caught. Brings out Prater.
This keeps it to a 3-score game. Even though if they scored a touchdown, yes, it'd have been 3 touchdowns and 3-point and 3 two-point conversions.
Prater, good again from 20 yards. Just 12 minutes remaining. Brady down 20. Well, the Pro Bowl will be in the news this week with Jerry Rice, and my guy Deion Sanders will be selecting the teams for the Pro Bowl in the first ever Pro Bowl draft. That's on Wednesday, and then the game is next Sunday from Hawaii. Just go to NFL.com/Pro Bowl to learn more. Peyton thought he had a third touchdown pass of this game. He's got 340 in the air. Another Vereen touchback forced by Prater.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by TD Ameritrade, Best Buy, and by the redesigned Honda Civic Coupe. Honda, start something special.
Well, look at the production from the receivers. Edelman without a catch in the second half, and Amendola without a catch for the game. This is only the second possession of this half for New England with 12 minutes to go in the game, and Brady has the hookup this time as Ho'o Manawanui loses his helmet. And Tony Carter was shaken up on the collision. Carter, who was inactive last week, but activated for this one and playing a lot of snaps since they lost Chris Harris Jr. to the knee. course, was the one who inadvertently let that punt in overtime hit him. It was recovered by Nate Ebner and led to a Gostowski winning field goal. So he's to the sidelines. Webster in for him. 1st and 10, Brady. Well protected, and a good-looking pass to Colley.
Yeah, you want to get the football down the field. That's why they go with the play-action pass to get Tom Brady away from the line of scrimmage. Good timing on the throw. Good route by Colley.
And it picks up 20. Fake to Vereen. And Edelman's first catch of the second half. And a beautiful piece of running by Julian. And the Bayshore boys finally connect here in the second half. That being back in their hometown, Edelman and Brady's homes. They grew up only 8 miles apart from one another. And what a year they've had. 105 catches by Julian. As Sylvester Williams is another Bronco shaken up.
Yeah, Julian Edelman, don't forget, college quarterback. What did Wes Welker say when he came to the New England Patriots? Wes Welker was there. He goes, all he did was shadow me. He goes, sometimes I turn around and go, man, you know, come on, just
hey, leave me alone
for a minute.
Yeah.
But he did a great job learning from Wes Welker.
Well, Williams gets help to his feet. Just a reminder, next week, the season premiere of the PGA Tour on CBS. Tiger will be there making his season debut. Phil Mickelson, off a second-place finish today in Abu Dhabi, will be there as well. The Farmers Insurance Open next weekend on CBS. From Torrey Pines. Sylvester Williams. I mentioned a couple of guys, Dickerson, Wolf. They've had their own adversities. Everybody's talked about New England, and rightfully so.
Yes.
But Denver certainly had its fair share. First down, Brady again. Here they come on the blitz, and he had to just get rid of it. That was Rogers Cromartie who came flying in, and Unrein is also down on one knee. The two Broncos who were in on Brady both shaken up.
The blitzing, the timing is perfect. Cromartie comes from the short side. You're on the left hash. Always look for the corner on that side, maybe coming on the blitz. And a really good job by Tom Brady avoiding the sack and losing valuable yards. And it happens so often. We see it. Defensive players run into each other and somebody gets hurt.
Well, just take these last couple of plays. You had Tony Carter hurt, then Sylvester Williams, now Unrein in the last 3 plays. A lot of people made a big deal about Jack Del Rio's never beaten a Bill Belichick team back to his days as a head coach at Jacksonville. Not that he was ever favored to do so.
Not favored.
I thought that story was completely overblown this week.
And of course, he wasn't the defensive coordinator.
That's right.
When they talked about the numbers that had been put up by Tom Brady against his football teams, which, by the way, were unbelievably great. The numbers I'm talking about.
2nd and 10 with 10:46 remaining. Brady, player on him, able to lob it and get the completion to Vereen. Jeremy Mincy, who had a sack last week on Phillip Rivers, almost got one today on Tom Brady.
Well, you talk about what a job by Mincy. The injuries on the defensive side for the Denver Broncos, but they've had so many guys come in, and there's been no drop-off in the production of their defense.
To credit to Del Rio. Carter is back out there after sitting out 3 plays. Third and 3. And that's wide of the mark, looking for Vereen.
He had him. He just let it too much over the middle.
And, of course, it's 4-down territory.
Absolutely. Watch Vereen coming out of the backfield. Shakes, sits it down. He did the right thing because he saw the defender inside. Tom Brady let him too much.
Well, they failed on a 4th and 2 in the 3rd quarter. Now a 4th and 3. If they have any hope at all, They've got to get a conversion right here. And Brady. He's going to have his first down. Trevathan finally is able to get him.
Green is so good as a receiver. He could almost be a slot guy on third downs for you. He came inside and gave a shake, and Trevathan no chance to cover him outside.
First and goal, New England trying to find the end zone for the first time today. Brady, pass over the head of Edelman. Mike Adams was back there, the safety, trying to protect him.
Jim, Edelman got inside. It looks like he's wide open from here. Watch Julian Edelman, number 11. Oh, he's wide open. You can't do. They fooled the defense. They called him switching. Nobody's inside. And it's a big overthrow.
Yeah, I was going to say Adams, the last line of defense, but everybody was beaten on that play. The throw wasn't there. Second and goal. And now, on the goal line, Edelman for the touchdown. Edelman, who had 2 touchdowns in the game back in November against the Broncos, has New England's first touch of this game.
Well, they forgot to cover him. Denver's defense, like a lot of defenses in the NFL, you get them moving, get them thinking, and they make mental mistakes. They spread out that time. Nobody on the inside looking at Julian Edelman.
Converts. 80-yard drive. And the Patriots trim it to 13. Edelman, the undersized star of the big season.
Well, Jim, you look at this. There's no way an onside kick. You got all 3 timeouts, 2-minute warning, 9:26. Denver playing it safe. Kick it off.
Be careful if they pooch it here because Holiday's had fumbling issues. He's able to grab hold of that and go out of bounds at the 25.
But the good thing is Holiday's so fast he gets up there and gets it.
Yeah, well, he fumbled 5 times this year on special teams, but a clean hold of it that time. How about the offensive line for the Broncos?
Well, a lot of good stories for the Denver Broncos, but this offensive line, how about this protection? How long he has to throw, where you can scan the field, look left, look right, nobody in the middle, nobody even close to Peyton Manning.
Broncos have scored on their last 5 drives. 3 Prater field goals and a pair of Peyton touchdown passes. They had the punt on their first series, and they've scored on their next 5. Here on first down. Ooh, dangerous. Trying to go back to Demaryius Thomas, who had, again, Dennard, who had the 2 picks last week. Dennard, but he's had a tough time of it today, trying to stay with Thomas.
Top of the screen, he trails him because he had a safety back behind him. Of course, he's upset. He was in great position, but the football got there before he could react to it.
Not knocked down a single time today. Pressured only once. Second and 10. Over the top they go. Julius Thomas in stride. And Julius Thomas able to get away from Jamie Collins.
Oh, they said if New England puts the linebacker out there on Julius Thomas, that Peyton Manning was going to go to him right away. He got the matchup. Julius Thomas just way too fast for Jamie Collins.
That's a 37-yarder. It brings him all the way to the 38.
Bills! Marshall! Bills! Omaha!
Use some of the clock here as they hand it to Moreno for 1. Let's go down to Tracy Wolfson.
Well, guys, Julius Thomas gets his athletic ability from his father, Greg, also a former football player. He played receiver at Pacific University in California back in 1983. his offensive coordinator, Pete Carroll. The two could meet up in 2 weeks in New Jersey, guys.
How about that? He also, by the way, is a basketball player when he went to Portland State. Talking about Julius, played in 2 NCAA tournament games, including getting knocked out 1 year by eventual national champion Kansas back in 08. Second and 9. And it's Moreno again for 1.
Well, we talked about this.
Oh, they tried twice to roll over and get up. Moreno, who so desperately wants to go back to his home area, back to New Jersey where he went to high school, get in that Super Bowl game. And he hobbles to the sideline.
You know, you look at this and you think, well, yes, New England trying to do a few different things on defense. But one, they don't have the speed today to get to the quarterback with the outside pass rushers. And there's too many matchups that favor this Denver offense against New England cover guys right now.
It's 3rd and 8.
Over
If
here,
they don't
over here,
pick up anything here, you'd be talking about Prater from about 54 yards. Of course, a miss there would set up New England in good field position. So Peyton looking for some yardage down the field to Demaryius Thomas. And out of reach. Trying to beat Dennard again. And they're going to bring out Prater. Again, Prater, as Thomas had some separation.
Yeah, he did, but Peyton Manning did the right thing. Only gave his guy a chance. If he makes this, no win, not a far kick. He made it from 60 yards in warm-ups, but it still keeps New England only 2 scores down if he does make it.
From 54 yards, Prater, look at that kick. It's good. 6 out of 7 on the season from outside of 50, and of course the all-time record from 64 a little more than a month ago.
NFL on CBS is sponsored by IBM. Let's build a smarter planet. Visit IBM.com/smarterplanet. And by Subway. Any regular footlong is a $5 footlong at Subway. All genuinely long. Subway. Eat fresh.
Back here for the final 7 minutes in this first championship game matchup to ever feature 2 starting quarterbacks age 36 or older. 6 consecutive drives ending with point production for the Broncos. And Brady's been starting all day long from the 20. Inside the NFL, the show that's in the league by itself. We'll be coming on Wednesday night as always with Phil and JB, Chris Collinsworth, plus all the artistry of NFL films. Wednesday at 9, only on Showtime. Plus the 343 combined wins. That's the most ever by a pair of quarterbacks starting a game, breaking their record from back on November the 24th that they had set. Incomplete. As they were bringing it, that Bronco defense.
Well, Tom Brady's been under pressure most of the day. When he needed extra time, he did not get it. And maybe the biggest play of the game, Terrence Knight gets right to him and gets the sack on 4th and 2.
You know, a lot of people might talk about that 4th and 2. And might also remember when Belichick against Indianapolis went for a 4th and 2. That's probably his most famous go-for. And on that day, he said he did it because he wasn't convinced they could keep Peyton Manning off the field. They couldn't stop him. And I'm sure some of that had to be the thinking here today as Brady finds Edelman underneath. He's within 2 yards of a first down. 3rd down coming up.
Of course, they got the hurry-up offense here going. Tom Brady getting the call from Josh McDaniels, but no huddle. Still 3 timeouts, 2-minute warning. Well, they decide to huddle. And this will be 4-down territory, of course.
Well, they had these crazy comebacks this year. New Orleans, Cleveland, and the mother of them all, of course, was the Denver one. 3rd and 2. And that's another first down to Edelman.
Beautiful throw to the sideline. Denver changing up. That time they stuck in a 4th rusher, but when you rush 3 people, Tom Brady's going to know that. He's going to take the extra time because there's 3 rushers. He'll see it, and it gives him a much better chance of finding somebody open down the field.
They bring in 7 defensive backs. The Denver defense does. You're inside of 6 minutes. It's the draw play. Brady saw the numbers at the line and went ground for 9 with Vereen. Saw all those defensive backs.
You know, they're being methodical here. There's no use to rush so much, Jim, like you're not going to have the time. You look at the clock, 5.5 minutes. You be patient. You look for that one big play. And if you score, don't forget, those 3 timeouts still on your side.
2nd and 1 and all kinds of time. And another hook up to Edelman at the 41. Peyton, no doubt, thinking, as everyone else is here in this stadium, they're going to have to sweat it out again like they did last week when San Diego presented a furious late rally. First down. And Carter jumps in front of Ho'o Manawanui, and it's incomplete.
Yeah, this time they do get a little pressure, but look at this. 3 guys rushing, 5 guys blocking up front. Tom Brady can move around the pocket if he wants. Just have some patience. When you line up, you see that 3-man rush, know that you can move around. Know that 2 of those guys are going to be double teamed.
4:43 to play, and again they'll go to Vereen on the ground with a big opening for another first.
Catch him in the pass defense. 3 guys up front, everybody going up the field. That's why Tom Brady gave it to Vereen.
Another set of downs at the 30. They're protecting Brady. He's got Colley. And finally, Champ Bailey is able to end the catch and run, but a gain of 18.
Yeah, the defense, it truly is a little bit like a prevent defense. They're trying to stop the big plays, and what they're doing, they're opening up big throwing lanes for Tom Brady and the receiver coming underneath that time.
Brady just standing there and fires it to the 5 to Edelman. As the clock runs at 3.5.
As we saw from the other side too, Jim, when you stay on the field like this, defensive pass rushers, they get tired. No pressure on Tom Brady.
Tenth play of this drive. And it's 2nd and 3. And still wide open. Fakes the throw and takes off for the touchdown. Tom Brady. Unrein could have gotten him at about the 3, but he shook off the hit.
Yeah, good decision by Tom Brady. Guys were coming underneath, right in his line of vision. Watch the receivers coming across as he moves up. Good decision not to throw it. Pretty shifty move.
And now the key 2-point conversion coming up to keep this momentum going. A Denver stop would keep it a 2-score game. Brady trying to bring it down to a 1-score difference here. It's Vereen. And he is stopped as they go to the ground. And you look at Brady, he knows that took so much steam out of that touchdown drive by failing on the 2. Phillips was the first to get to Vereen.
Yep, keeps them 2 scores down. They split 3 guys to the left trying to catch the defense by surprise, and they probably do, but what a job. Watch Phillips come off the left side and gets him from behind. Otherwise, Jim, he's going in there for the 2-point conversion.
Boy, Phillips came flying from that outside.
You know, Sean Phillips, another offseason acquisition. They brought him over. He was psyched to come, of course. Tom Brady knows that that was probably the game. With Sean Phillips at San Diego, basically not wanted there, comes to Denver and has worked his way in the starting lineup and been terrific here down the stretch.
Yeah, he just darted over there, did Phillips, who's from Willingboro, New Jersey, same high school as Carl Lewis. They named the stadium after Carl, but it's Sean Phillips Field.
Now, the last time the Patriots did an onside kick, they kicked it right down the middle where the kicker could recover it.
That was against Cleveland.
Against Cleveland.
But it was the first recovery for an onside kick, successful one in the Belichick era at New England.
But not this time with everybody spread out to each sideline.
Wisnowski approaches. Gets it high in the air. Decker's there, and he fields it. Decker, who last week failed to field it on an onside try, and it was recovered by San Diego. Not this time.
Good job by Decker, but the football just goes too far down the field. So if it goes, if you can pop that thing up in the air right around that 10-yard mark, then your guys could get down there and make contact and maybe, like last week, make somebody drop the football.
And look after that opening drive punt, the only punt by Colquitt in the postseason. All scoring drives. Remember, New England has all of its timeouts. Moreno, remember, shaken up. He's not in there. It's Ball, the rookie who did fumble against New England in the first matchup. Holding on to it tight for 3 this time. Down to Tracy.
Well, guys, 2 injuries from the Denver sideline. No Sean Moreno in the locker room right now with a chest injury. His return is questionable. And cornerback Tony Carter in the locker room with concussion-like symptoms. He is out for the game, guys.
Okay, thank you, Tracy. And New England has used its first timeout with 3 minutes to go. Coming up, the Subway postgame show, we'll have the presentation of the Lamar Hunt Trophy to the AFC champions, plus JB, Dan, Shannon Boomer, and Coach Cower. We'll preview the NFC championship game. It's all coming up on the Subway postgame show. 472 yards amassed by the Denver offense, plus no turnovers today and not a sack allowed. 2nd and 7, Marin's going to throw. Got a man open, and it's Tammy, who scored the game's first touchdown, and he stays in bounds.
Hey, look, they're doing what they are built to do, and that is to keep on attacking. He knows they're going to be up there trying to stop the run. Guys lose their discipline. Nobody covering Tammy, wide open.
We get Champ Bailey so desperately wanting to experience a Super Bowl for the first time in his decorated 15-year career. He's never been to the big bowl. That pass, by the way, went for 23 yards, which puts Peyton at exactly 400 for the game.
This offense, so many different plays, so many things to look up. Adam Gase, an aggressive play caller. You put him along with Peyton Manning, they are not afraid, that's for sure.
So New England took a timeout at the end of it, leaving them with 1. Brady knows what that pass play spells for his Patriots. Ball work in the middle, taking it to the 20. Timeout, New England, and they're out.
You know, you look at what they've done here today, Jim. We were talking to Peyton Manning on Friday. And the thing that struck me, he said even himself, he's surprised at how well it's gone and how well he has played. He didn't really think physically he was ever going to get back to be able to perform at the level we're seeing here this year, all year long, really.
Well, you think about, again, things to overcome, the injury for Peyton, the surgeries, being let go by Indianapolis, then last year, the heartbreak, being the 1 seed, getting knocked out in the divisional round by Baltimore, a loss that John Fox said was deep in our gut. They've been thinking about it for a full year. It's just not that we lost, it's also how it happened. Now here they are, 241 away from advancing to the Super Bowl. Second and 5. And Ball has 3 more. And New England cannot stop the clock. And this is going to run down to the 2-minute warning. In the 3 previous times that Manning and Brady met in the postseason, not only did the home team win on all 3 occasions, that team went on to win the Super Bowl. One of those games was in a divisional round, but still the Patriots in that case went on and won the Super Bowl. 2 minutes to play with the Lamar Hunt Trophy. And you're watching the NFL on CBS. Jim Nance, Bill Sims, Tracy Wolfson. We're back for the final 2 minutes. 3rd and 2 here for the Broncos.
Hayden waved his hands and the crowd went silent right away.
He's learned how to control the home crowd, hasn't he?
He's learned how to control a lot of things.
Ball. Yeah, maybe a yard. John Fox. 10 years ago, he lost in the Super Bowl to Bill Belichick. Fox, of course, taking Carolina to Houston to that Super Bowl, and now has a chance here on his way, it appears, to beating Belichick to take a second team to the promised land. 4th and 2, and they're just going to go ahead and run down the clock before they take this snap, pick up 2 yards, and then Peyton can just kneel on it once and put himself in the New York State of mind as Ball has done it to seal it. Eli and Archie in the Manning box celebrates. And now Peyton will go to Eli's stadium to try to win a Super Bowl. Eli's already won one in Peyton Stadium at Indianapolis back a couple of years ago. To MetLife Stadium. Peyton and the Broncos are headed that way. Peyton will be trying to become the first quarterback, the first starting quarterback to ever lead 2 franchises to the Lombardi Trophy.
Well, John Fox said last year when they lost to the Baltimore Ravens, it toughened them up, and we saw it all year long.
John Elway helped put this team together. The last man to take them there rode off into the sunset, of course, with back-to-back titles. And Fox and Belichick with a big embrace. John Fox, his season, it's just almost the 2 teams in the adversities. They each just had a long list of things they had to come back from. And for New England, so many close wins, such a remarkable year, short on talent if you look beyond the quarterback position. What a magnificent job they did to get to this spot. But Peyton Manning, all that Peyton-hating propaganda you heard for the last couple of weeks.
Well, it'll be quiet for another week. Then it's on to the next game about the Super Bowl. And, you know, not to put a damper on it, Jim, but he goes to the Super Bowl. If he doesn't win it, then it all comes back. But this is a terrific team, a terrific offense, and Peyton Manning, a record-setting year.
A 400-yard performance by Peyton today, and this Broncos team with a clean performance. 507 yards, 400 from the quarterback. Didn't turn it over, didn't get sacked. And today, well, backing up the most remarkable regular season any quarterback had ever had. He certified it here today with that performance against Tom Brady and the Patriots. The Subway postgame show is coming up. We're going to head down to the field here for the Lamar Hunt Trophy presentation. For Phil Simms and Tracy Wolfson, Jim Nance saying so long for now. You've been watching the NFL on CBS. The Broncos are bound for the Super Bowl.